welcome to Behind the Scenes. I am your host, Hector Montalvo. This show is normally dedicated to asking tough questions for you, the viewers. We bring you their responses, and we let you decide. Joining us here today at our Haverhill studio, no other than candidate for Haverhill City Council, Miss Dee Jacobs O'Neil. Miss O'Neil, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Hector.
Miss O'Neil, why don't you start off by telling us who Dee Jacobs O'Neil is?
Well, I am a 30-year resident of Haverhill. I grew up in the Merrimack Valley. I've chose to raise my family here. I have 2 children that graduated through the Haverhill school system. I own a business here. I own property here, and I am vested in Haverhill.
Perfect, great. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So you decided to take out papers to run for the city council.
I did.
What made you decide to do that?
Well, through the pandemic, my eyes were quite opened widely. I started a nonprofit, 411 Cares, and we hands-on work within the community every day. I feel like many of our citizens are not heard. They feel they're not heard. So I took out papers to be the voice of the people.
Awesome. So what issues do you see that's facing Haverhill today?
I think we have overdevelopment, and we're doing fast growth, not smart growth.
Smart growth, huh?
Smart growth.
Interesting. What do you mean by that?
I mean, our public services, our police department, our fire department, even our water and sewer lines are stressed as it is. And there needs to be something done about that, and somebody needs to be addressing all of these issues. It's not simply a stress on our school department. It's a stress on our hospitals, our roadways, our police, fire, EMT, and all the way down the line.
Yeah. Now, I've seen a lot of different photos and articles circulating around the city of Haverhill, especially on Facebook.
Yes.
Haverhill has a Facebook, Haverhill 411, I believe it is.
Yes, I founded our group with my partner there.
Really? So I see a lot of pictures of you spending a lot of time at the fire station. Bunch of great group of guys over there at the Haverhill Fire Department. What drives you to do this?
I've had 2 house fires myself, so I know what it's like to lose everything in the blink of an eye and how every second counts. I get very involved with the fire department because I feel they are underappreciated and they are overworked. Not many people know we have 4 firehouses here in Haverhill, and 3 of them are staffed by only 3 men and 1 truck, and that's an issue for people here, where you're in a situation where every second counts.
And at one point, I believe last year or the last election cycle, the fire department had issues with repairs being maintained in the buildings and so on. Have there been any improvement on that?
The firehouses have been updated somewhat. We do have a new truck. We do currently have another issue we're facing is hydrants. A lot of our hydrants don't work, and unfortunately, it's not known that they don't work until they're needed.
Yeah, it's a tough situation, and you really never know. But I believe the city of Haverhill may do a good job as far as inspecting these fire hydrants, and I believe the Haverhill Fire Department may be responsible for that task.
Well, actually, Hector, it's our water department that maintains the hydrants.
Really, the
Yes.
DPW?
Well, yes, water department.
Wow, interesting. How do you plan on moving Haverhill forward if you're elected?
If elected, I plan to focus on 3 major issues. First being public safety. Public safety all around, police, fire, and emergency services. Secondly, smart growth versus fast growth. And thirdly is being inclusive. I think our city government should represent our people and look like our people and live like our people. And I feel like most people, they're not heard. So if elected, I will be the voice of the constituent.
So we hear that a lot from a lot of politicians that when they come out, they're seeking people's votes, they go door to door, and it's been widely known. It happens in the local level, it happens in the state level, and it even happens in the federal level. That once you're elected, you forget about the people. You forget about that oath that you've taken. What makes you different?
I'm not a politician. I am a citizen of Haverhill. I live here, I raise my family here, I work here, and I love Haverhill. Unlike, I don't rely on a paycheck from the city of Haverhill. I rely on what my peers think of me and what I can do for my community. With 411 Cares, we service the people. I have a full staff of 14 people. We feed over 100 people a day. And I'm not going to forget those people. And, sorry. These people matter, whether they are rich people, poor people, inner city, outer city. We all have a voice, and it's not my city or another councilor or a mayor's city, it's our city. And I find it very important to be inclusive with everybody in the city having a voice.
Well, so what other issues do you see that Haverhill faces? I mean, we know that the mayor is running for re-election, and he is one of the oldest sitting mayor, and he has handled the coronavirus situation, and he has taken a lot of heat from a lot of different groups, including myself, I have to admit. But he's been very open and transparent. He's been very communicative with everyone. Will you be that kind of city councilor?
Absolutely. I feel like this isn't Haverhill's money, it's the people's money. And it's our city, our voice, and our choice. I think the mayor has done, as well as our council, has done a phenomenal job at pulling us out of receivership or not heading to receivership after the Hill Hospital. And things have been great. Now we got to be proactive and not reactive.
What do you see? We know that there's an issue, especially this year, that the coronavirus and it started back in March. It's been a toll on a lot of renters, homeowners. People are backed up on their bills, their rent, but yet we have a lot of high rises, luxury living complex going up, and the rent is just keep going higher and higher. Would you support, or would you ever bring legislation to the city of Haverhill to try to help those people, maybe some type of rent control for the city of Haverhill?
I am personally against rent control. I believe it to be unconstitutional. There are ways to reduce those costs, however. Right now, our water and sewer rates, they will be unaffordable for the average person in Haverhill within 2 years. So when fees and taxes go up, the landlords pass it along to the tenants. And there are many ways the tenants and every citizen in Haverhill can reduce the cost. Simply being a good citizen is one way to reduce those costs.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has to do their part one way or the other.
Together we can.
And that's a great slogan. What is going to be your slogan?
I'm not too sure yet. We've
Still
been working on this.
it.
We're working on this with my team, and I can be a big mouth, and I am not afraid to speak up. I've always been a shooting for the underdog, and we're working on that. But it's going to be something with your voice is being heard.
Now, I know that the state is putting together, I mean, I know they passed it already, but they're putting together the final touches on a accountability board, Citizens Accountability Board. But that Citizens Accountability Board is mainly designed for like the police department. Haverhill PD has a bunch of great police officers there, and we don't have the issues in Haverhill that many other big cities have, where the police department are over abusing their power and their authority and so on. You are a police supporter, are you not?
I am. However, I also know there are issues in every department. Most of our police officers are great people, and at the end of the day, they want the same thing we want. And in order for us to all feel comfortable and safe with the police, it is big for me anyway, to have community policing coming back. And Haverhill's far greater and larger than downtown. I'm talking up Hilldale Ave, High Street. I would have police officers on the beat where they know the neighborhoods and they know their people. And the blue wall of silence needs to be torn down completely.
Yeah, that's been a big issue. It's been about police safety versus public safety, but that's a different topic for a different day. You support the police department. We all support the police department. I believe that Haverhill PD, and I believe that the current chief is away, and right now the mayor is appointing or has
Yes.
appointed a new temporary chief to fill in. So Haverhill is moving forward with
Right.
the police department. What about public servants at City Hall per department, per each department? I mean, public servants work for the people, and they tend to forget that they work for the people.
I agree.
If you're elected, you're going to become a public servant, and you're going to be open to criticism. Are you ready for this type of abuse?
Hector, I'm open to criticism now. I operate a 30,000 plus member Facebook group, and they are of all denominations, they are of all parties. And I try to work with everybody. I listen, not just hear people's thoughts. I'm open-minded, and I am well aware of being the voice of the people.
Now, are you running as a Republican, a Democrat, an independent?
Well, as you know, Hector, council is a nonpartisan seat. However, I am a registered Republican.
You are a
I
registered
am.
Republican. Perfect, perfect. And what are your first three major goals if you are elected?
If I'm elected, our first and foremost goal is public safety. And that is the safety of our citizens and our first responders. And to have respect for the first responders that work all day to protect us. Secondly is smart growth and economic development. And third is inclusiveness. And what I mean by inclusiveness is it is all of our cities. We all have a voice. I may not agree with somebody's voice, but I will listen to their voice, and I'm open-minded, and I try to diffuse situations and get people to work together versus attacking each other.
So I know that the city council is pretty much divided currently. If you're elected, you may end up working with a bunch of people that may be still reelected.
Right.
How do you plan on working with them and getting your agenda moving forward, where you become a new face for the people and you start hitting these roadblocks?
I was a realtor for 25 years in Haverhill. I can negotiate pretty well. And again, I listen to everybody's opinion. And first and foremost, what I find important are the people's opinion. And if your councilors and your government isn't seeking the people's opinions, they're serving themselves and not you.
Right? It's really a shame that public servants, once they are elected or they're hired to become public servants, they forget those.
That's why term limits are important across the board.
Would you ever bring a piece of legislation in the city of Haverhill for term limits?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Could that be one of your first items on the agenda? if
Absolutely,
elected?
Hector. And it's a mixed bag on there. There's pros and cons with term limits. I happen to see my people that I listen to. Once somebody sits in a seat far too long, it's very easy for corruption to set in, whether it's intended or not. Often it's not intended.
But you know, the people are the ones that make that decision. And it appears in the past couple of elections that Haverhill doesn't come out to vote just like that.
They don't. And what I'm finding is a lot of people feel, why should they? They feel that their vote doesn't matter. I am one who, even on our Facebook group, Hector, as you can see, I poll our users often because I don't even want to make changes within the group without everyone on board. And we need to really rally and get the people out to vote because everybody's vote matters. And we all have valid concerns that whether I think they're valid or Joe thinks they're valid or they think they're valid, and that's what we're here for. A city councilor's first and foremost job is to be the voice of their constituents. Unfortunately, a lot of people I've been speaking with, they don't feel they're being heard. So I want to not only listen and hear, I want to express their thoughts.
Which leads me to my next question, because I do know that you have been out door to door.
Yes.
What are you hearing from the constituents for those people that are looking for change? What are you hearing from them?
Well, one of the biggest things most people seem to have, their biggest concern is crime and public safety. Right now, even the outskirts of our city, they are very underserved by our fire department, whereas we have only 1 truck and 3 men per shift in 3 out of 4 of our firehouses. People are afraid, and people are afraid to speak up. So again, to build in the inclusiveness and everybody matters. I understood this isn't an old fairy tale type thing where everyone says hello and how are you to their neighbors, but it could be. And it could be by getting your citizens to realize their voice does count and everyone's vote matters and thoughts matter, and acting on it, not just saying it.
Would you ever take the pledge of not raising taxes or voting for not raising taxes?
Hector, I own property here. I think I pay quite enough taxes. And I am not by no means thinking anyone mismanages funds. However, I do see a lot of nepotism and a lot of favors being happened and done. There is a lot of federal money out there. And personally, I'd like to see where it goes. I know some of our local reporters have been having a difficult time through the Freedom of Information Act, getting some information that I think it's our money. We should know where it goes.
I totally agree. I mean, this show has done a whole bunch of different FOIA requests for a whole bunch of different police departments, courthouses, DCF, I mean, the whole 9 yards. And, they do redact statements, they do hold back information, they delay the response. Now, public records law allow for 10 days of delivery from the time that you apply, okay, not including Saturdays and Sundays. And we've been finding out that that is not the case. There's a lot of cities out there that do not respond in a timely manner. And I don't want to call anyone out.
Key. Transparency is key throughout. Because it's not just their money, your money, it's ours. And I think the vision of our neighborhood, our communities, that's been lost along the way. I am even for term limits with council. I do not want to be 75 sitting on council. So term limits, again, will reduce a lot of the nepotism and a lot of the foreseen corruption within the city. I think there are smarter ways to spend our money. And if people were heard, perhaps things would be different.
That is correct. That is correct. That is 100% correct on that statement. I truly believe that statement is 100%. What plans do you have moving forward if you are elected to make Haverhill a city that is for everyone?
Well, first and foremost, your government needs to resemble the people. They need to listen to the people. And the mindset of me needs to go, because it's us, not me. It's team. We're a teamwork. Even on council, our council needs to be a team. With our mayor, we all need to work together to make things happen. At the end of the day, we all want a safe place to call home.
Now, you mentioned nepotism, which is very interesting because Haverhill, based on what I see out there, and I am a Haverhill resident, and also what I hear from other members of the public, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
That's
and that
unfortunately true.
nepotism is what is keeping the connections going on in Haverhill.
And that's why people don't vote, because they feel their vote doesn't matter. And I've been on both sides of nepotism, admittingly.
What steps can a city councilor take to make sure that nepotism is not being used for contracts, to give out contracts to family, friends,
Well,
so
first and foremost, they need to stop being self-serving and serving the community. And the pledge and the oath people take, that isn't to be taken lightly. I've been on all sides of the nepotism thing, hurt by it, benefit from it, and it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. Appointments need to be scrutinized a little bit more. And when you say it's who you know, you're absolutely right. It is who you know. And that's a sad, and it's unfair and unfortunate. And I, for one, would be the voice, because Hector, I have nothing to lose at this point. I can get loud and proud. And, you know, unlike some folks who may rely on a paycheck because they work for the city or this or that, I'm self-sufficient. The only approval I need is my peers and my family, and that's it.
Well, we only got a few more minutes, Emma. Let me just ask you real quick. I know that you have set up your finance committee and the whole 9 yards. If people wanted to support you and help you on the campaign trail, where do they go? How do they reach you? What do they need to do to help you?
Right now, I have a team working on our official campaign pages. In the meantime, I can be reached on Facebook, or I live on North Broadway in Haverhill. Come visit me, or you can find me at the Veterans Outreach Center or GAR Park, because helping the community is always going to be and always has been my first priority.
Perfect. And with that, I'm gonna let you finish up the show, wrap it up with tell the viewers why they should vote for Dee Jacobs O'Neil.
First and foremost, because I will be your voice. And with any political seat, for me, it's not gain. It's want to truly have my heart and my soul in Haverhill. And I certainly want to improve things in Haverhill and make everyone feel like they matter and their vote matters, and to move it forward.
Well, Dee, we want to wish you the best of luck in that campaign trail. Politics, it's a dirty game.
Dirty job.
It's a dirty game of two faces and a lie.
And I just want to end it with, I will not ever go to smear campaigning, and I would expect all your opponents to all take that same pledge to work on why me and not why not somebody else.
And my last question of the day, if you're elected, how open and transparent will you be with the citizens of Haverhill?
Again, it's your money and your community too. It's not about me, not about this department or that department. This is our city and our home, and we all have a voice.
We want to wish you the best of luck.
Oh,
I want to
thank
you for coming on the show. You have been watching Behind the Scenes. I am your host, Hector Montalvo. Join us next time as we go behind the scenes to ask the tough questions, bring you their responses, and we let you decide. Thank you for watching.